Good evening. My name is Alan, and this evening I am facilitating a session of Rapscallion. This is the pirate PBTA game that is in the Ashcan version at the minute from Magpie Games, written by Whistler. This is the fourth of four sessions organized through the Gauntlet RPG community games calendar. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, you really should look us up on the internet. If you search Google-RPG, you will find us as a community and many of the things we do. If you wanted to throw some Patreon our way, then that would be even better, because that would give you priority access to games like this, and also, depending on the level, access to the monthly Codex zine, which is, to be honest, I remember when zines were stapled together, so it's much more than that these days. And the Gauntlet is getting into publishing now, so I just downloaded my free copy of Brindlewood Bay, the old lady solving crime and facing Thuloid darkness game. Jesse Ross has just kickstarted Trophy, and that's about halfway through a Kickstarter, so if you haven't looked at that, you really should. And Hearts of Wulin, I am hoping to have a final version of that, having backed the Kickstarter last year, sometime in February, March time, fingers crossed, Lowell, no pressure. As I say, pirate PBTA game. I will ask I'll ask the players to just say hello, introduce themselves, and maybe say something about their character. I will go in character keeper order, please. So, Paul, say hello and tell us about Captain Klaus.
Hello. Hello, I am Paul, he, him, and I'm playing the good Captain Count Klaus Wichmann, who's a bit of a slovenly old dog, and he pretty much sells people out for not much gold at all.
I think that's a bit harsh, but okay, I'll go with it. Will, say hello and tell us about your mountebank, Percival.
Well, my name is Will. My pronouns are he, him. So Percival's, and Percy is a man who has made a deal with a literal devil. On top of that, he is also a secret assassin trained from birth. But he's mainly good at killing things and being quite weird.
And I have to say, has been much more selfless so far than I kind of expected him to be. Though I know we are looking for opportunities for him to betray everyone. You never know your luck. Moving on, Mario, say hello and tell us about Lucia.
Hello, so I'm playing Lucia Janssen, and she is a rich young lady trying to get used to the pirate life and finally kind of feels like becoming part of the crew.
Disappearing into a skull-shaped island and weathering traps and spirits will do that for you. And finally, Ferret, say hello and tell us about Morgana.
Hello, I am Ferret. I use he, him pronouns for ease, but any pronouns with respect are fine by me. I am playing Morgana, who uses she, her pronouns. She is a member of the Unbound, traveling artistes who wander the waves, plying their trade. She is a fire eater and a tattooed marvel who doesn't even need props to breathe fire.
Yeah, a literal dragon lady. Now, we have, over the last three sessions, traveled from the pirate haven up here in the north of our map via the black port of the Restless Dead, staffed by plague doctors, one of whom Lucia knows well. And that was an example of Percival failing to assassinate someone that's on his list. But currently, the Black Cat, the cruise ship, the Black Cat, is anchored at the Isle of Dread down here, which is a large skull-shaped island in keeping with pirate law, with a prison perched on the top of it. And last time, our intrepid characters ventured into the depths of the skull, leaving the prisoners behind, ventured deep into the skull in search of, well, the captain wants to be the 8th pirate king. and all the evidence he has points to the key to that being somewhere deep in the skull of the Isle of Dread. Also, coincidentally, this is where the captain's rival, Captain Tricky, was imprisoned when the captain betrayed him, stole his ship, and either sold his crew into slavery or killed them. And we saw some of their spirits last week. So I think our opening scene, though, will not be the characters. I think we'll begin with a scene as dusk has fallen outside. And I think we'll see Bosun Hamnet being rowed back from the skull, the cove beneath the ear of the skull, where the Black Cat is anchored safely, being rowed back to the Black Cat, clambering aboard to find a slightly uncomfortably nervous crew. And Hamnet is a fiery old bloke, no smile to his friends. And we hear him bellowing, "You scrawny dogs, the captain will be back aboard right promptly. So get about your business." And he dispatches the off-duty watch below decks, where we'll follow them down to the gun deck, where we see them stringing hammocks. But rather than lingering on the gun deck and the crew as they mutter concerns about what's happened to the captain, instead we go deeper into the ship, into the hold, where a large number of crates that were put aboard the Black Cat as part of a deal with Morgana's Guild of Entertainers, the Unbound, are stored. And we zoom in, the camera zooms in on one of these chests, crates, nailed shut. And as we zoom in, we hear a slight as the lid of one of the crates appears to be levered up from inside, and the nails holding it down begin to lever out. And at that point, we'll cut back to the bowels of the Isle of Dread. So, Captain, you evaded spirits and traps last time. You are still heading deeper into the bowels of the skull that is the Isle of Dread. What exactly are you looking for, Captain, down here?
We're looking for Tricky. Captain Tricky. That's the man we seek, ladies and gents.
Let's not lose sight of the prize.
Exactly.
What your informant, who went missing all the way up top in the prison, Susanna Samson, told you was that what you desired, what you were looking for, the key to becoming the 8th Pirate King, was behind a door marked with a particular sigil. And I'll remind you at this point that you got a key from the governor, the prison governor, who was knocked unconscious, and then you helped down into the dungeons, the bowels of the island. He had a key around his neck, and you, Captain, took that key. And there is an arcane sigil carved in the top of that key. So you're looking for Tricky. Percy, I think as the captain goes on into the tunnels with his torch, go looking from, where's Tricky? Where's the bastard Tricky? We come back to you. And I'm wondering what kind of internal conversation is going on between you and your demon grandfather, I think you call him.
Yes. I'm not sure. I suppose it depends upon what grandfather is demanding of me, because grandfather is interested in the sunken treasure or the treasure that the captain is also searching for. So I feel at this point we're sort of aligned. Grandfather's wishes are aligned with the party's wishes.
I think that what grandfather is saying is, boy, you let me down a lot recently. You didn't kill that man when you had the chance to. Don't let me down again. Do we understand one another, Percy?
But grandfather, you know, The man, he didn't need killing.
He's on the list.
Aye, but that ain't your list, is it, grandfather? That's the patrician's list.
Doesn't mean I can't enjoy it, lad.
Yes,
Why do you
grandfather.
think I chose you?
Well, I always thought I chose you, but he's a bit shocked at the idea that he was chosen, I think, by that, yes. Because I'm good at killing, grandfather, that's why. You're right.
That's right, lad. That's why you're good at killing. I enjoy the feeling of the spirits leaving the bodies.
Haven't I given you plenty of chances to feel that, grandfather? What about
You
the crew?
gave me Captain Magda, but that was days ago.
I gave you the guard as well, upstairs.
Oh, a piffling little spirit, barely worth the taste.
Well, he was a bit slim, I'll give you that. All right,
So-
grandfather. Yes, I hear you. I hear you. You know, I was always taught to respect my elders and that, so slipping into the West Country quickly.
Remember, Percy, I sit there watching your dreams. I know what the patrician said to you. I know who you're looking for.
Aye, so you do. And you also know that I'm looking for the patrician, don't you? And you're supposed to be helping me.
Well, you make my life pleasurable, Percy. I'll make your life pleasurable.
I would be willing to take one of the weaknesses from grandfather's influence.
What would you like to take?
Which one do you think would be? I think perhaps one where I'm bedeviled, where I can feel grandfather's. And you know, I even have a move where I can take it to gain luck, I believe.
You
so I could
can.
do that. I could just do that and gain an extra point of luck. So
I think that was exactly so. So mark bedeviled and earn a point of luck. I notice you can also you can sacrifice blood to get luck to power your channeling of grandfather if worse comes to worse.
But I'm on like 3 harms.
You did take a bit of a knock last time, didn't you? For those very reasons. Okay, and then further back, following the torchlight, we see Lucia and Morgana. What kind of conversation are you two having?
I think Morgana is not downcast, like with the curse that's on her. She is sticking closer to Lucia, I think closer to the whip now. And I don't know if this is what Lucia really wanted out of Morgana, as Morgana seems to be sort of, I guess, out of sorts. Like maybe from killing all those spirits if one can. This feels weird down here. None of this is making any sense anymore. Traps, ghosts. Why would the symbol of a pirate king be down here?
I have no idea either, but I truly believe that this is part of a way bigger trap. And I suspect Tricky to be the master of all of this.
I think I need to tell you something. I don't think Tricky is the one we need to be worrying about. And her eyes glance forward past Percival to the captain's hat.
What do you have in mind? I found him to be quite nice these past few days.
I had a contract with Tricky before Klaus. Klaus just honored it. Now, I've heard rumors of what happened to the old crew. I've heard what I've thought is truth about what had happened to the old crew. But, and I think she puts a hand on Lucia's shoulder and smiles a bit too broadly, like a predator's smile. Do you think I'm helping a man find a tattoo for him? I think her tattoos like glimmer with like an orange in the firelight.
Lucia's eyes widen, like enormously, anime style, and She's like, oh, I knew there was more about you, but oh yeah, if you want to become the 8th pirate queen, I'm all for it.
And you know
You
what?
can count on me.
And I think she moves in close, like kisses Lucia's cheek. Nothing. It's more than just friendly, but nothing beyond the cheek. It's like, and a pirate queen will need consorts, my dear.
And I give you a wink.
And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a neat tie that up with a bow. Captain, in the passageway ahead, you can see a series of cell doors. What do you do?
Firstly, I'm going to turn to Percival and say, you look troubled there, my son.
Aye, Captain. It was lots of familiar faces in those ghosts, you know? Not friendly ones.
It can nip up a man's heart, that can, but you did what needed to be done, so forgive yourself as I forgive you. Because I think of you as a son, Percival. A son. That's how I think of you. So forgive yourself. You're a good man. What you did wasn't your fault.
Aye, Captain. Well, I've always thought of you like family. Maybe even close to my own grandfather.
Excellent. Excellent. I don't think I'm that old, though. A father, probably.
Wherever the captain says, yes. Aye.
Excellent. But I may ask on you soon, Percival, for some nasty business work may need to be done. Well, I want to know that you're my man.
As I'm often reminded, Captain, I'm always there for the dirty business.
Excellent, excellent. Because what we may need to do is some nasty work to Tricky.
More nasty work than leaving him here.
Oh, a lot nastier. I hear he has a map to what we seek.
Ah, well,
and it's tattooed on his body.
Well, Captain, for a steady hand and a swift knife, if a steady hand and a swift knife is what you're needing, then I've got it for you.
Excellent, excellent. Now, mechanically wise, I think that may count as I've steadied the troops.
I was going to ask you if that was a command or whether it was steady the troops. When you snap a crewmate out of it, give them a talking to and roll plus polish. Let's see how that goes, Captain. You are still, I mean, your white whale move is
how long can that run for? It seems a bit...
until the opportunity is passed. And I think the opportunity is not going to be passed until either you are the Pirate King or the end of this series.
Okay.
It's not like Ahab ever gives up on hunting his whale, is it?
Indeed. But
just
this is a genuine opportunity.
Yeah, just on the 2 dice I rolled 11, so that's 13, so it is a win.
And what it says, I think, is on a hit, you've gotten through to them. They may remove one weakness of their choice.
Well, I will remove exhausted.
Am I not a man of the crew? There we go.
I think having grandfather and his surrogate father figure, who, he's got a lot of father figures now that I think about it, Percy. None of them are nice. Yeah, gives him energy.
On a 10 plus, take 1 rank with them. So you add 1 rank or take 1 rank with Percy, Captain. Yeah. So alter the number in the bracket and check one of those boxes. Okay. So there is. It looks like you've reached a section of tunnel with some cells, cell doors set into the walls. You're all together. Who wants to act?
I would like to start shouting out.
What do you shout, Captain?
Tricky, you dog. I'm here to end your time in these cells. No more will you spend time in these cells. I'm here for you, Tricky. Where are you?
And you can hear a banging on one of the cells.
Men and ladies, I think that's our target. Let's go in there. Morgana, can you have the door?
And does this door have the same symbol as the key?
All the doors have the same symbol as the key.
Okay, so I'll look at the captain. Easy or hard?
Or I think a hard way through the door to set a scene of what the crew are like.
Can
So
I just say there is a keyhole?
Yeah, exactly. Like she was basically asking, is it the key or the show?
Well, you've got to let other characters give them a chance to shine. You've got this new ability.
Yeah,
It
so
would be a shame not to.
I think she just grabs the door handle, turns it, the lock snaps, and she rips the door off the hinges and tosses it behind her. Knock, knock.
So that's fisticuffs with a bit of Herculean thrown in, I think. I'm not going to make you roll for that. I think I'm happy to see that tossed over your shoulder, and it tumbles over Percy and Lucia and lands with a clang behind you. And inside is a wizened old bloke with long hair and this enormous beard. Ah, thank God! After all these years.
Oh, don't thank God. He had nothing to do with this. I'm Morgana. And she then like steps aside for the captain.
It's not.
Is
Captain
that you,
Tricky? It isn't. It's clearly not Captain Tricky. He's decades older, and he's shorter, slighter. He's got he's lost one hand. He bears no resemblance to Tricky at all.
Jail's been hard on the man, Captain.
It has, but we can't allow people to leave with knowledge of us. So I'm afraid, old timer, we are going to set you free from these cells, but it's going to be a quick journey to the other side.
I think Morgana just steps in the cell and I like the idea of just this becoming effortless for her, and she just flicks him in the forehead, and there's just this I think the wind rushes past to show the impact of the blow, and he just collapses.
And that's when you hear running feet in the darkness beyond the cells. Now, Captain, Morgana's in the cell. You're at the cell door. Lucia, what do you do when you hear this running down the corridor, the passageway ahead of you?
Well, I turn my head and stare into that direction. You're muted.
It's dark. The only light is from the torches that you are carrying as a group.
We do have Kingsley with us, so I'll check on him because he will have the best ears we've got.
Kingsley will be in the cell with Morgana.
Okay.
Kingsley, we need to tell our viewers, is Kingsley the mink. This is Morgana's pet mink. We have another animal with us. What's he called? Cormacraw.
Craw-macaw.
Cormacraw, the captain's rude, obscene macaw. Yes, indeed.
Craw-macaw, the macaw.
So, Lucia, you don't have much to go on.
Okay.
So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Then grabbing my whip, just having it loosely hanging around my shoulders, and start slowly walking down the corridor.
Certainly, the footsteps ahead of you are running, so you'll hear them getting further away. Percy, what do you do when you hear the footsteps, the running footsteps down the corridor?
They're running towards us or away from us?
They're getting more distant.
I've run after it.
So Percy is running into the darkness with a torch bobbing. Lucia's then begins to pick up the pace. Captain, you're at the door. You see your two crew members running past you on their way into the darkness. What do you do?
I will bob out of the room and shout down the corridor. Where are you going, Percival and Lucia? What startles you?
There's someone out here, Captain.
And by the
Excellent.
time you get that, Captain, all you'll see is the bobbing torchlight of the pair of them disappearing around a turn in a curve in the passageway. Morgana?
I think Morgana comes out, looks at the captain. Count Klaus, we can go through every door if you'd like, or go after them. What are the orders?
I think our business is here, actually, Morgana. Lucia and Percival are skilled tacticians, that they can handle any problems. We have a task here to find Tricky.
And yeah, she'll
Ladies first.
she sighs and just I think it begins like just opening door, not ripping them off this time, but just like ripping them off the locks and opening them to check on prisoners.
And so we see you tear another door off, and then I think we'll cut into the darkness where these bobbing torches are kind of heading down the corridor, the passageway. The footsteps are still ahead of you. They seem to be just running in the dark, Percy. You're at the sharp end of this. Does that in any way influence your approach?
I think that what happens is Percy swears, and he's going to evoke one of his demonic powers, and he's going to try and evoke 5 to 6 for a scene you may meld into any shadow you touch and transport yourself to another within sight range, which requires the spending of 2 luck.
Now, the only thing I'll say to you is that everything is shadow apart from the light. So it's going to be difficult to step from this shadow next to you into that one down there, because there's just a wall of darkness beyond the torchlight.
Yeah, I was hoping for it to be like kind of flitting between ones and catching up with whatever this is, but perhaps not then. If that's not a possibility.
Tricky.
Yes. Is it tricky? Captain, he's here.
I found him. I
guess. I don't know. I would I think
keep chasing.
I think actually I will fire a shot off at them as well.
Okay. Fine. So there's in the darkness there's a kind of, and a spark and then do you stop to see if anything changes?
No, I think carry on.
Just keep going.
I think it's like a running bang and carry on running.
Okay. Okay. I think what you'll hear is, you hear this kind of patter, 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 patter. Then there's a pause, and then patter, 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 patter. What do you do?
Does it feel as though we're getting closer to them, or are we?
I think you might be close. You might feel you're closing on them.
Yeah. I think that actually, if I feel like I'm closing on them and they're close to me, I think I would like to throw the torch at them, because Lucia is behind me with the torch, and I would like to throw the torch at them. Yeah.
That's fine. And so it hurls into the darkness, flickering around, and we'll see the passageway, the rough-hewn passageway illuminated. 2 figures running away into the darkness. 2 figures. And then your torch drops into the pit they jumped over. Lucia, what do you do?
The classic Lucia move. I use my whip and do the swinging.
Because there is a whip involved in this game, every passageway has dramatically placed beams at intervals, and there is, surprise, surprise, there is one above the pit. Are you going to do this alone, or are you going to take Percy with you?
Yeah, if we can do this together, I think that's a really neat picture. That I just swing the whip, and then I realize, oh wait, there's Percy with me, and then I just grab him and drag him along with me, and then we leave.
I tell you what, this sounds a bit like Flourish. If I was to say that you impress or fluster someone, and that involves carrying Percy across this gap, I think I'd like to see you use that move. When you make a move with outrageous style, Lucia, roll 3 dice instead of 2, and you get a choice as to whether the flourish comes off.
Okay. So,
Have you all got the dice? By the way, the dice room is on the move sheet below stand your ground.
yeah. But I think the flourish move does go on top of another move, doesn't it? Like I need to have blood or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was thinking of break in or break out, to be honest.
Okay, yeah.
Unless you've got a better option.
No, sounds perfect.
So that is roll plus blood.
So, okay. So plus blood, I would have a 10 either way.
Oh wow. Okay. So we I think probably, how does this look? Because it's you go for it, and then as you described, you realize Percy's with you as well. He's slightly in front of you. What do we see on screen?
So while I'm already sort of flying in the air, and maybe Percy tries to jump, I realize like he can't make it just by jumping. It's way too far. So I grab him, maybe just around his shoulders, and just it's quite the opposite. Usually you see that like Tarzan and Jane doing kind of style, but now we switch genders, which makes a way prettier picture, I guess. So yeah, and of course I will let him loose just before I can do the Spider-Man landing kind of thing.
Yeah. Percival lands running. Lucia makes the perfect Spider-Man 3-point landing. Percy, what do we? No, let me cut back. Let me cut back momentarily. Captain Morgana, you've now torn the doors off all 8 cells. None of them contained Tricky. That was the only one occupied. But one of the doors was already open.
He must have escaped, Morgana.
And of course, it was the 8th one.
Of course. Luck's against us, Morgana, but we must search him down. The others will be fine. Let's go onwards and find Tricky.
Well, so are you going to follow them or go back the way you've come?
I think Morgana's like, if Savannah has beaten us here, maybe she's trying to make Tricky the new Pirate King. That would be horrible, wouldn't it, Captain?
It would. She could read the map that's on his back, which Tricky cannot read his own. So there needs 2 of them.
And maybe they're making their way away. We should be off, or at least help the rest of the crew.
We should track them, Morgana. We should track them. That's what we should do.
What have you got in mind, Captain? You've got a corridor. That way is where Percy and Lucia have chased the footsteps. That way is where you've come from.
Well, they couldn't have come from the way we've just come, so they must be going in the way of Percival and Lucia. Onwards, Morgana. Let's go that way.
And I think Morgana is like, Captain, how's your leg? Can you run?
Aye, there's nothing wrong with my legs. It's my bulk that slows me down, Morgana. It's my bulk.
I can handle that. I think she picks him up and just like fireman carries him as she begins running.
Excellent.
Hanging on to his hat.
It saves some energy, but I don't look dignified, Morgana. Just before we get to him, make sure you put me down and I'll act as if I'm out of breath.
Of course, Captain. Of course.
And so we'll cut back to the other side of that pit trap. Percy, Lucia has the torch. You're running away, so you're casting a shadow down there. But you can see two figures, one of whom is clearly a woman. Looks like she's torn off the flounces of a really ugly dress.
One thing, shouldn't Lucia get an option for the 10+ on the flourish?
Yeah, sorry. That what we agreed was she impressed or flustered someone, which was whisking Percival across the pit.
Okay.
Take 1 rank with them. or 2 forward wooing them, Lucia? Thanks. So Percy, one is clearly a woman. The other man is a man stripped to the waist with a complex tattoo on his back. But then they then go into the dark again.
Yes. Well, I would like to twist fate.
Would you now?
Yes.
So that's Spitfire, is it?
It is, yes. And I was just looking at the rules, and I think when it says about luck, how you can use it to twist fate as though you'd roll a 10+, I think that's after the roll. Like, you can't just spend the luck beforehand and automatically roll a 10+.
I think it would make sense to be after the event.
Yeah. And I can spend luck after the event to get a +1 as well, correct?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. But I don't need it because I roll a 10. Anyways, so...
So, on a hit, pick one of the following options.
I think that it is something. See, there's something overlooked in this area, or a flaw or vulnerability in your opponent, and I think it is. I'm trying to imagine like what could be overlooked in this area that might help me, but I think that maybe it's a flaw actually, and maybe it is that Tricky is being dragged along by Savannah because he is like effectively, you know, he's been in this place for like how long, you know, like he's
so he's limping or he looks a bit infirm.
Yeah. And I think that for that hobbling kind of gives me like 1 second to sort of make a shot that will like hopefully startle Savannah, you know, like so that she's carrying him along and it's kind of like she'll go bang near her head and then it'll be like and drop Tricky to the floor or whatever, basically.
Okay, so is this an attempt to harm them or to convince them to stop by hoodwinking them? Maybe, I don't know.
I think that is perhaps using a dirty trick.
Fine. Go ahead. To exploit the injury of this man.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Which I get 0-2, and I get 12.
Oh my goodness me! You get away clean. You can up the ante, your choice. So, the shot goes off. It ricochets off the passage wall beside Savannah. Tricky goes to his knees. You would roll. Your next roll will be with advantage.
Cool.
She's helping him up, and they are turning at bay. Lucia, you see this go on. You've come up on Percy's shoulder. What do you do?
Yeah, I did see Percy drawing the pistol, and I used the opportunity to run like close to the wall, and then I just tried to slide and to try to slide on the floor and hit the leg of Savannah. You muted.
That's quite a lot, given that you did your 3-point turn and then caught up. I mean, they're torchlight away, so we're not talking about 5 feet here. We're talking about 20 feet away. I think that's a lot in one move, if I'm honest. I don't mind you running past, you just running at them, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. Then Percy, what do you do when you see Savannah kiss Tricky and appear to disappear inside him?
I stop in front of the pair of them, and I say, "Found yourself a wee gin there, have you, Tricky?"
Lucia, you run past Percy as he is making this announcement, and I want you to stand your ground in the face of the wall of flame that erupts between the pair of you and Tricky. I would describe it as chaotic fireballs and an inferno of flame swirl around them. So I can't think of any words. Yeah, stand your ground, I think. You need to spend a bond with somebody you're confronted by this out of the blue when you're going full pelt towards them. Who are you thinking of as you try to save yourself?
Well, if it's flames, I'm definitely thinking about Morgana.
Yeah, fine. So spend bond with someone. So how much bond have you got with?
2.
2. Do you want to spend one of those or 2 of those?
Yeah, I think it's only 1. Yeah.
Okay, then roll +1.
Oh, so this is a 7 then. The bond counts as 1, right?
Yeah,
And it's a 7.
Each one you spend, you add to the dice. So when you stand your ground in the face, and the compel here is be engulfed in flame. You must spend bond with someone relevant. Explain how they're helping you. So what are you thinking of? What is the anchor that Morgana is providing?
I think I've seen Morgana handling the flame quite well these past few days, and I think that when I helped with the whip and the book and all the wind, the magical wind I've got from it, I kind of like to think of myself as being part of something bigger, of some mystical wind thing. So I try to be brave and step into the flames and hope that the aura of the whip, which is hanging around my shoulders, will protect me.
Okay, so on a hit, you've escaped. So you will not be engulfed in this. You managed to screech to a point, and then you've got choices. Do you take a weakness? Do you permanently lose 1 rank with Morgana? Or do you decide you're in a worse position than before? Now that would be, I step into the flames.
Yeah, so I think just fictionally, it will be the worst position.
Fine. So you scream to a halt, but then you launch yourself into the flame. And Percy, what do you do when you see all this happening?
Grandfather. And I call upon Grandfather's powers. And like, given that I've only got 3 harm, I'm almost tempted to just spend the 2 looks so I can try and get the meld into any shadow, because now there are shadows on both sides of this wall of fire.
There are.
Yeah. So I will spend the 2 luck and hope that I get 5 to 6, because I can't take much more harm. So I got actually a 9. So on a 10 plus, I get to choose which. So yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
so
actually, given that I rolled 10 plus, I'm not sure when I should be spending the look. Maybe I think it says spend look and roll Spitfire. So maybe I should be spending the 2 plus look beforehand, because I would have also taken. I would have also taken I'm immune to fire, obviously, but then I think this is a better one to have.
Spend 1 luck or spend 2 luck allow you to evoke the following power. So I think it is spend and then see what happens. Yeah. So what do we see in on screen?
I think that as this explosion of fire erupts, Percy just literally takes 1 step backwards into a shadow, like as it's erupting, and appears right on the other side in a shadow behind, in tricky shadow, actually, like in the
shadow that the flame is casting.
Yes. Yeah, like in that long silhouette, just turns into him.
And you spin round, and out of the flame comes Lucia with her clothes aflame. What do you do, Percy?
she's made it through the fire, I'm going to grab Tricky while the grabbing's good.
Okay, Lucia, you were in a worse position than before. Before you were not on fire. Now you are on fire. What do you do?
Well, I tried to make a really dramatic gesture with my whip, pointing towards Tricky, but actually I just tried to use the wind aura to put out the flames.
Okay, I think that may be twisting fate to change the conditions around you, yeah?
Okay.
Unless you've got a better offer.
No, not really.
So roll plus Spitfire.
It's a 9.
Gosh, you lot are rolling well.
I
7 to
will
9.
spend one of my bonds to have said, like, I've helped I've shown, maybe that kiss on the cheek is making her feel better, and boost that to a 10.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So on a hit, pick one of the following options. So which of those bullet pointed options do you think are best? And because the weather, the wind, or the tides change. Was that what you're after?
Well, why not? Why not have a little storm going inside this corridor?
And we know that there's this wind aura around the whip, so I think the whip will stir around your neck, and a little whirlwind will put the flames out. Because if you don't put the flames out, you will take some harm. So now you're in kind of burn tatters clothing. So Percy, you've appeared behind Tricky. What do you do?
I think that pull that blade up against his throat.
Okay. And you can hear Savannah's voice. And Savannah says, no, you will hear Savannah say, hello, grandfather. Are you well? What do you think grandfather says, Percy?
I think that grandfather recognizes this voice now. So he'll call her by whatever the name, he'll call her by Samson. Perhaps that's the biblical name for her, isn't it? You know,
fine.
Like, yeah. Samson. Like, fancy seeing you here.
It's been a long time, grandfather.
Oh, yes. What, 3 centuries? But what's that between friends? What brings you to such a wretch as this?
I think, grandfather, the same thing that brings you here. And the question you have to ask is whether you think Klaus has it in him, or whether you and I together can get these two where they need to go.
And I think grandfather chuckles and says, as though I'd ever share. And I think I would like to for grandfather. I don't know if this is me saying what grandfather would compel me to do, but I think that what we need is the map on Tricky's back, right? We don't actually need Tricky alive, strictly 100% speaking, for this purpose. And I think that grandfather will just say, like, you know what to do, boy.
And what Percival realizes is the face that the patrician showed him in his dream is Tricky's face.
Yeah. And
so what do you do, Percy? And you hear Samson screaming, you idiot, you idiot. The man's a fool. The man's a fool. You'll all die.
Yeah.
At which point, the flames die down and Captain Klaus arrives with Morgana. Klaus going, oh, gosh. Where do we go from here? Because lying at your feet, Captain, is a dead Captain Tricky, your rival and nemesis.
Can I
Tricky has died! Yes! Yes! Good work, Percival and Lucia and Morgana. The crew profit from my profit. That's the way of the sea.
Aye, Captain. And Percy hands him his knife. There's that map you're after.
Excellent. A map in human flesh is the best map a man can ever have. That's for sure. Now, let's get to the surface where we've got some light to study that map.
Can I just, as you bend over to cut the map from Tricky's back, obviously this will be out off screen in our not pre-18 movie certification. I think we'll have all of you gathered round the dead Tricky, looking down as the captain kneels and begins to. You see the line of blood appearing around the edge, so we know what's going to happen. And the map is a compass rose showing the 8 cardinal points. And at each cardinal point, there is a ship, an illustration of a ship. And as you begin to cut, Captain, the ships in the tattoo turn around and begin to head towards the center of the compass rose. And we will zoom in on one of those ships, and we will cut to a ship in the real world, and we'll see a big wheel being turned swiftly around, and a haughty woman's voice behind saying, "We must get there before the others do. We must get there before it's too late." And I think at that point, we'll take a 5-minute break for a cup of coffee. So back on the hour, folks. See you then. Okay, so we come back after that break, and I think I want to just retcon something because I've just been thinking of keeping this at a PG rating. I think at the point then where we see these ships turning, the ink from the tattoo begins to flow up the captain's forearm under his coat. And then I think I'd like to cut to being back on the Black Cat. Because, of course, there's a way out down here. We don't go back. We go forward. And we see the captain perhaps in his cabin with a mirror looking at his back, which is now tattooed with a compass rose, with these ships getting closer to a central point. The only ship that isn't moving is the one at the southern tip of the compass rose.
I think that's our ship. We need to get underway. So I'll don my jacket, and I shall make my way to the deck.
Where the crew await, they're all there in the waist of the ship, and the bosun. 3 cheers for the captain! Hip hip hooray! Hip hooray! Hip hooray!
Well done, crew. We now have the map, so we know where we're going. Treasure is there for everyone, and I will be the 8th pirate king. And there we will stand equal with the other 7 kings, and we will rule the oceans. With me, crew, full speed ahead.
And I guess that what are you going to steer by the tattoo then? So you'll head off in a particular direction and alter your heading to it looks like you're heading towards the center where the other ships are heading for?
Of course, yes, that's where we need to be.
And I think it's not long before you realize that you are heading towards this mysterious tower that sticks spine-like out of the sea. Crew, the captain seems to be fulfilling his dream. I think that his that white whale has probably done its thing now, Captain. I think you think that you've got this in your grip. But I'm curious, Morgana, what do we see you doing at this point?
I think Morgana is in Percival's hammock, and she still has his she never gave back his black book from that time she ripped out all those pages. And he'll maybe come in, and she doesn't have it opened, like it's locked or whatever with the strap, but she's like toying with it, like she's about to look in it. Percival, so nice to see you.
You found me little black book, Morgana. You wouldn't mind passing it back? Yes, you did take it, but it seemed to work out well, so I'll forgive you that liberty.
You may have to forgive me a bit more. We have words that we need to speak.
Indeed, and what might they be?
Well, I'm not really talking to you, I don't think. I mean, we've talked about, other things, and I believe the captain is a bit overzealous, don't you? Maybe his name, and she fiddles with the book, should have been on the first on the list.
Well, I can think of a certain family member who'd agree with you there, but he's useful for now.
For now, of course. I don't think we should kill him now. Well, in fact, I don't think we should kill him. And I think she pulls out her guild and puts it on the book and hands it over to Percival. What's the usual going rate? A coin and a promise might be better.
Have to be some promise to make up for the free guild I normally get on top of this.
Oh, well, 3 paltry guild, or maybe running a guild would be better.
I think I could be persuaded, Morgana. I will let you say, though, that the captain is looking for something that I want, that I need, that my family needs, if you follow my meaning.
Yes, something I really have no interest in. I could become a pirate queen, but I grow weary of the sea already. I want to go back to artistry. And I want to get back at the man who killed my uncle. Not you, of course. He sent you as a tool. But he has the map now.
Yes, well, I think this might be a more beneficial situation than being sold into slavery, which is my full expectation of what will happen when the captain gets that tattoo.
Yeah. Well, and she'll have handed the book and the guild over now. Just remember, if the captain needs to go down, you can be the next pirate king. I'll help. Just drop me off at the Glimmer Isle when we're done, and don't sell Lucia into slavery. I've actually grown a bit fond of her.
You're not looking for a slave of your own, then?
No. She's the one with the whip, after all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lucia, what are you doing in this kind of bit of calm?
Well, Lucia wanders around the deck, and at the forecastle deck, she's seeing standing Billy, the cabin boy. And as she's approaching him, we can see on screen that Billy has a single tear running down his face. And Lucia sees it and goes up to him, looks at him for a second, and then from behind her back, she is giving him a muffin with a single candle on top of it, and says, "Happy birthday."
Oh, miss, no one's ever. Oh, miss, I'm ever so grateful, miss. And he, you know, and would you like a bite?
Oh, you can have it. I already had 3 on my own. They are really delicious. But one thing, I know you're loyal to the captain, but I'm not sure if that is in your best interest. I'm certain that you are facing big choices in the near future. And I want you to think about yourself in the very first place, not about your loyalties.
Oh, the captain's never given me a cake, miss. So I think, Lucia, you can add rank 1, Billy the cabin boy. He's a cheap date. 1 muffin and he's yours. So, Captain, it becomes very clear very quickly that as the steersman and Bosun Hamnet kind of check your back, that you are steering towards that spire, that mysterious tower. What do you know about the tower, Captain? It's mysterious. Why is it known to be mysterious?
I think it's a massive obelisk of dark stone that the sea doesn't seem to be able to mark in any way, and basically there's rumours that there is magic upon the top of that tower. Now, normally the sea is squally around the tower and very hard to approach.
That helps. Thank you. But it's visible on the horizon at dawn the following day, because you're kind of vaguely southeast of it. So I think you'll get the dawn behind it. But at the same time that someone, shortly after someone in the crow's nest yells down, "We see the tower, sir," there's another call, and sail, sir, on the horizon, sail.
We must beat them, crew. With all speed, we must get to the tower first. Because what I seek and what you seek is at the top of that tower, and no other pirate captain can deny us. Our right is the crew of the Black Cat, and me as your captain. So full speed.
Percy, do you ever take a turn up in the crow's nest? What's your normal kind of duty position?
I have a feeling that Percy's perhaps not really got a running the ship kind of position so much as just a general kind of like wet work sort of thing, you know. And the rest of the time he just sort of like lurks in shadows and rolls dice and things like that.
Okay. Lucia, what's your normal location? Because I think we've now located Percy down on the gun deck, stealing money from sailors who are too stupid to realize that he's too good at the game. What do we see Lucia doing? Where does she spend her time?
Well, if she's not chatting with the crew and listening to really crazy over-the-top pirate stories, I think she's somewhere in the rigging, like checking if the sails are set properly, if the ropes are not tight, and all that kind of stuff. She's really fond of heights and likes the view.
And finally, Morgana, where is your normal duty position?
Oh, cannons.
So with Cannonball Rose. So again, down on the gun deck, maybe helping to make sure that the stocks of powder, because I think you had to repowder after last time's disastrous rotten powder accident. So Lucia, you're up in the rigging having a moment of peace and quiet. When you spot another sail, so we've got one from the east, you now spot one from the southeast, and then there's a call from elsewhere in the rigging, "Captain, sail ho!" And at intervals over the next 20 minutes, a total of 7 sails are revealed, coming from the southeast, the southwest, the east, the west, the northeast, the northwest, and the north. And Captain, it seems peculiar that this would be coincidental, because all the ships on your back, on your tattoo, are heading towards that central point.
It's the other pirate kings, I tell you. It's the other pirate kings, so we must get there first. I want to see more sail than this ship can take. We can take a ship from the other pirate kings. We need to run this ship to the ground, crew, into the sea if need be. I want more sail than any man has ever seen from these masts. So I'd like to command the crew.
I think you need to command the crew to undertake a remarkable feat of naval exercise.
Lucia would like to assist, and she's screaming from somewhere above the sails. "You hear the captain. This is the one opportunity we've got to make our lives worth it."
So that is spend bond to assist a crewmate. So spend a bond with the captain, Lucia, and the captain is rolling whatever with an extra +1.
Okay, I rolled 4. No, but that's okay. So I have +2 with polish, giving 6, and the +1 bond will just take me over the line to 7.
And if the worst came to the worst, Bosun Hamnet would be flacking about with a belaying pin, whipping people into action. So on a 7 to 9, what's the options?
Okay, they can either follow my orders for more than a few minutes, they can take the trained tag, or they can take the loyal tag. Now, I don't really know about the tags because they already had the loyal tag from last time, and I haven't changed the crew. So, again, not too sure about that.
Yeah, it doesn't last forever. I think that what it means is that they're all loyal.
Yeah.
You know? So you can continue that if you like, or you give them the train tag. The train tag, I think, would give you advantage in ship maneuvers. The loyal tag might give you advantage facing off a mutiny, for instance. Not that I can't think why we would need to know that. But the thing is that I think you need sustained effort from them.
Yeah, so I want them to basically whip this ship within an inch of its life. I want masts crashing down when we reach there.
Okay, well, I think this is steer the ship in a difficult maneuver. And I will give you +1 for the command effect on the crew. So it's roll plus rank with your ship, Captain.
Okay, I have a rank of 2.
So roll +2.
That's a lot better. So I've rolled 9, 10, 11 with my rank of the crew.
Okay, so on a hit, you steer true. We don't have to worry on the 7 to 9. You hit an obstacle. So all is well. You are going to get there first, but you will be. Your estimate is that they will have come because of the wind direction, and when they turned, they'll be arriving initially one at a time. So you're going to get to the base of this mysterious black, featureless, and apparently, resistant to all harm obelisk before them. So, Percy, what are you doing as you approach the obelisk?
I think I'm whispering in the corner to myself or to grandfather. Nearly there, grandfather. Nearly there.
Keep your eye on the prize, my boy. Keep your eye on the prize. Morgana, the gun deck is spick and span. You've repowdered and reballed, if that's a term. And Lucia, you are up there helping, tying down sails that are on the verge of splitting, spritting your sails and whatever else you do. Captain, there's the obelisk. You are herring towards it at an heeled over as the wind kind of drives you towards it. What are you going to do when you're within? I don't know. You tell me what you do as you approach.
I will just tell the crew to drop all sail right at the last minute. We will probably scrape along the side of this obelisk just as we come to a halt. And then I will issue a general order to all the crew to move all the starboard cannons to the port side. The starboard is clearly against the obelisk, so we don't need any cannons that side. Maximum cannons to port!
Okay. Now there are currents here that will tend to move you on. So are you going to drop anchor? Is that the objective here, to just try and drop an anchor front and back and try to just stay in the lee of this obelisk?
I definitely think so. That's the aim. We'll aim to drop anchor, but also Yeah, I want to see if there's any way up to the top of this obelisk at the base.
That looks like you are trying to break in or break out, or twist fate. Twist fate. You notice something overlooked that might be of help. I think it's twist fate. Roll for Spitfire.
Okay, so this is going to be a nice roll at +0 because I have 0 Spitfire. So in the fate of the dice, let's see what it comes up. 6.
Billy the cabin boy aids Spitfire, and Billy says, "Look there, Captain," for +1.
You've got a good eye, Billy. We'll make a man of you yet. In fact, next time we're in port, Billy, I owe you one.
And there is, because of the scale of this thing, it's actually quite difficult to see it on a black against black. But there's a little glint of sunlight hitting the surface. And what Billy spotted is that there is a staircase cut into the side of this. What are your orders, Captain? Or anybody else want to do anything before the captain issues any orders?
I just want to mention that as my whip has been crafted at this exact place, I might feel dragged towards the obelisk and might have a hard time waiting on orders. So I'm frontline whenever we got the order.
So are you anticipating we find you, tearing the canvas off the ship's boat? And I think there is that tingle at your hip. The whip is eager. Anybody else want to do anything before the captain issues his order? Because I'm pretty confident I know what he's going to say. Okay, Captain. What orders?
Crew, hold them off. While I get to the top. All will be ours when I return. Heed my words, crew. Stay here and fight the pirate kings and queens away.
Okay.
Captain, I'm not sure. There is this whip you might have noticed earlier. This whip tells me that there is some sort of danger over there at the tower. You sure you want to go alone?
Good point, Lucia. You accompany me, Morgana and Percival. Stay here and drive off the enemy.
So, we see Klaus and Lucia getting into the ship's boat. Hamnet is lowering it away with the rest, with the boat crew, and Percival. Anything? Morgana? Anything?
I mean, I definitely want to get on that boat.
Yeah, I think Morgana has been slowly for her, but much more quickly than anyone else, bringing the cannons above, the starboard cannons to port, and hears that and just looks at Cannonball Rose and shakes her head and begins running upstairs to get to the boat before it lowers.
So, Captain, Percy and Morgana are very keen to join you. What are your orders to Hamnet as they race to the side of the ship?
Well, I have a move called Bond, which we haven't used so far. It's quite weird. What I want to know is, do any crewmates submit to me despite their doubts? Because they can add 1 rank, or I can add 1 rank with them.
So
it's a bit of a weird move, actually. I don't really sort of get it. It's a bit non.
So the captain is ordering. Well, no, I mean, we should ask the question. So, Percy, what do you do when the captain tells you, despite your doubts, to stay on board?
I think I would like to try and I don't know. Like, is there a move that I can use against other PCs? Because I feel like in masks or something there would be.
Stand your ground, I think. Or
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
In effect, the captain has compelled you
Okay.
to
And
stay put.
don't
I would
spend
do.
any bond. I'm using my heart of gold. I'm going to spend my bond on you. You get a 10+ on this immediately. But I think I am going to submit because Lucia has my best interest at heart. I've paid Percival. I need to protect my damn ship.
Well, there is some logic in that. So, Percy, stand your ground. You get an automatic 10+. You've escaped. So, Captain, Percy seems to be standing strong against your order and gets into the boat. Morgana, I think, is now going to be in command, actually.
I think, Percy just says, like, Captain, I'd never forgive myself if something happened to you. I am coming aboard this. I'm sorry to disobey your orders, but...
I, Percival, I'll forgive you, son. I will forgive.
You
mute yourself midway through a sentence.
Oh, okay. Morgana, the ship is yours. Make sure it's here when we return.
Oh, it will be. Now,
For your sake, I don't want a repeat of what happened last time, Morgana. If not, you'll be lashed to the sail and whipped by Lucia.
Promises.
So Morgana has the bridge. The away party is rowing towards this mysterious. The away team is rowing towards this black obelisk, and I think we will cut to the captain. Are you going first, Captain, or are you pushing Percy to go first up these steps?
Yes, I definitely think Percy or Lucia should. In fact, both of them should go in front of me. I feel.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you feel that. Okay, so the Percy and Lucia, you can probably go abreast up this because it's such a big object. It looks like a tiny staircase, but it's actually quite deep. And you begin to make your way up this staircase. The captain huffing and puffing behind you. And I guess we will come in with that kind of bird's eye view of you almost clinging to the side of this, and we'll sweep past to show you going up and then back down to the ship where the first of the pirate kings is closing in on your position, Morgana. What are your commands, Morgana, says Bosun Hamnet.
Yeah, I think Eyeglass gets the telescope, sees like the captain of the pirate king, like holding, like directing everyone. She picks up this one cannonball. And does that. It's like too bad there's only going to be 7 pirate kings after this.
Okay, so I think that this is strike or shoot with a weapon capable of wreck.
Yeah, so
so roll plus blood.
That is a 5, 6, 7. Woo!
Okay, so on a hit, your strike lands, deal your weapons harm. And I think that we will see the captain kind of hit in the chest by this and just, flying away over the side of the ship. On 10+, the fates may give you a special opportunity. No, I don't think so. You on a 7 to 9, you stumble, trade blows, or put yourself in a bad position. Your choice.
I think she overreached, and she threw herself off the ship with this throw.
Yeah, I'm thinking shot put here, and we see you kind of going across and hurling it, but then your momentum carries you into the sea. So Hamnet takes the bridge. And Morgana, you are in the water. What do you do in the water, Morgana? What are you going to do?
I think she just she knows there's not going to be another ship coming for her because that's the other island. And she just yells for a rope to be dropped. It's the best she knows, the doggy paddle, and that will be a long time before she gets anywhere with that.
Okay, so what I was curious about was whether you were going to swim for the obelisk, but I will have you being hauled back on board. Meanwhile, you are making progress up the obelisk, the side of the obelisk, Captain Percy and Lucia. Lucia, the whip is positively, that tingle has become a kind of charge almost. And you can see, you and Percy, as you make your way up, that this leads to an arch cut into the side of the obelisk. What do you do? Lucia?
Oh, Captain.
Yes, Lucia.
If I'm not mistaken, this place is a place of power. This place is to be hold ritual about new pirate kings and queens.
Aye, it is. You are correct there, Lucia.
Do you know about the ritual we have to fulfill to make you the king? Because I don't want to go in unprepared.
No? What, will I be struck by lightning and given the power of a god? Is that what you're talking, Lucia?
I don't know. I've never been part of such a ritual, but the sheer amount of power this place inhibits is outrageously dangerous.
Captain,
We better know what.
What if the first person through the door gets the pirate queen's treasure?
Ah, that's easy, Percival. I thought this would come up at some stage. No, the only one that can become the pirate king is the owner of the tattoo. So, therefore, there's no harm if you go first, Percival. It will go to the rightful man, your captain.
Of course, Captain.
Excellent, Percival. And Lucia, you're right. There could be some weird magic up here. Let's be on our wits for threats from the ethereal kind.
And so who does go through the archway first?
Captain's orders.
Never disobey a captain's order. So in you go. Fair enough. And this kind of seamless, shiny obsidian material, just it there's no joints, there's no mortar. It looks like it's a single thing, almost crystalline in its makeup. Morgana, you're back on the ship, and what you notice is that the other ships, this, because we've had 7 closing on you, you just knocked a captain off, so that leaves 6 in command plus a 7th. The 6 that have been heading in towards this location are now steering to the south of you. It doesn't look like they're steering into attack you now.
Oh. Can we say the current is heading in that direction?
Do you want to twist fate and make that a fact?
I believe I do.
Then twist fate. Roll plus Spitfire.
And I will have Kingsley helping me with this. So that is again a 7.
Gosh, good old Kingsley. So on a hit, pick one of the following. So weather, wind, or tides change, how do they help?
Yes, I'll pick that one.
But on 7 to 9, you must spend 1 luck, or the fates get to answer the attached question.
I have no luck, and even if I did, I'm cursed.
So you are interested in which way the tides are running.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I would quite like the tides. We know that they swirl around here, and your judgment is if you were to take up the anchors or cut the anchor chains, you would begin to head out to where they are located.
Oh, that's not my plan.
Oh,
everyone, whale oil in the sea now. And as I want to see,
I see where you're going with this. But you're not a whaler.
True.
You'll have some oil.
Then let's get the ship in that direction. Anchors up.
Okay. And I think that the last thing you see, Captain Klaus, before you disappear inside the obelisk, is the black cat beginning to drift away in the same direction as away from the obelisk, south of the obelisk.
Morgana better have a good reason for that.
And the fact is, Captain, that it looks like the ships are beginning to order themselves into line astern. And it doesn't look like they're heading towards the obelisk anymore. It looks like they're heading to somewhere south of the obelisk. Just for reference. Morgana, there's no reason. You don't have to wait to drift, You can just hoist that sail.
Yeah. Sails are up. And I think she was about to borrow the captain's line of ramming speed when she sees that they're not drifting towards the obelisk anymore. And this is curious.
It is curious. It is most curious. And so inside the obelisk, you penetrate down this dark corridor. I'm going to assume you've got a lantern, Percy and Lucia, at the front there. But you can see a light at the end of the tunnel. And you enter out into a large dome, carved or grown, I don't know, into the center of this. And there is a spear of sunlight that just comes out of a hole in the roof and strikes the middle of this. Percy, Lucia, which of you sees it first, or which of you reacts first?
Lucia, I think.
This Lucia, the whip feels very much at home here.
I'll stroke the whip gently because I now feel the whip sort of has its own identity. And I'll have it hanging loosely around my neck so I can grab it any time. And I'll walk straight towards the sunbeam.
Percy, do you follow her, or do you wait to see what's going to happen?
What's the captain doing?
Captain, you come into this space last. Lucia is marching, and it's half the size of a football field. This domed space inside the obelisk, but she's marching straight towards where this pillar of light is coming from a hole in the roof. What do you do, Captain? Because Percy seems to be looking for your lead.
I think as the captain walks in, Percy goes like, "Lucia's found your prize, Captain," and he bows and points his hand out in front of him.
Excellent, Percival. Then lead on, my son. Lead on. I'll follow.
Aye, Captain.
Morgana, you're up on the poop deck, and you can hear shouts from below deck. There appears to be something going on below deck. What do you do?
I'll hand the spyglass to Hammett and let him keep going on. And just work is never done. Head downstairs.
And there are sailors kind of rushing up the steps from the hold, saying, "They're alive! They arrive!" And they run past you.
Anything living can be killed if it's troublesome. Do people not understand this?
What do you do, Morgana?
Keep going.
At the bottom of the stairs, you can look down and you can see two man-sized, person-sized, woman-sized marionettes who are beginning to in that slightly disjointed way, come up the steps. What do? You can hear the sound of more of them massing in the cargo deck.
Oh dear, and I love this ship. And they're really not making me very happy. And I can't burn the ship, so pop knuckles on right hand, pop knuckles on left hand. Let's go fisticuffs.
Okay, so you just charge down at them. Fine, let's have you roll for fisticuffs then.
I'm a very blunt person.
And are you marking bloodthirsty or angry?
Angry. I've already marked bloodthirsty.
Oh, okay. Then go ahead. Roll with fisticuffs.
It does not go well. That is a 5.
Oh.
What about you have some pretty thoughts while the first strike misses? You think about Lucia, because I could give. I would say only one bond I have left with you. I spent the other one. Sorry.
Yeah, but let's see.
I was going to say, spending bonds post-roll sort of goes against the command skill.
Yeah, it does, I'm afraid. Yeah.
But if Cannonball Rose is down here somewhere, she could be assisting.
I think she could be assisting if you waited for them to come to you, but you just charged into the cargo there. I think I'm struggling here. And it's an appalling roll.
Just beat me to hell.
You strike them, and it's, though they appear to be made of wood, it's like striking steel. And they are peculiar, though they appear to be very disjointed, they are remarkably resistant to any blow. And then I'd like you to roll size up, please, Morgana.
Okay, and that is plus vinegar or polish?
That's vinegar.
Gotcha, so this is a flat roll. It's getting worse! That's a 2!
Then actually, the worst outcome here is that you notice that each one of them has a tattoo in the middle of their forehead, or a painted-on tattoo in the middle of their forehead, that is the sign of your uncle, a member of the Unbound. And as you look beyond them, you can see more of them clambering out of the crates that the Unbound put aboard for the captain to carry to Glimmer Isle at some point. And there are dozens of them, these marionette figures, just coming out of the chests, the crates. I'm going to leave you there for a moment, Morgana, with a difficult choice to make. Captain, Lucia is going to arrive at the sunlight. Percy's followed orders and is now following her with you. Lucia, you're going to get there first. What do you do?
I watch really closely where the sunbeam is hitting the ground or whatever it is hitting. And
is it fair to say that you are sizing up the sunbeam?
Yes.
Then let's see what you see.
Size up vinegar. Seven.
Could be worse. On a 7, so you hold 2. On a 7 to 9, they hold 1 as well. Spend hold 1 to 1 to ask the following questions, and then I can find out something about you that has to be true. So, which of those 5 questions, or something similar, do you want to ask me? You can ask 2.
I think it's turning towards what's your goal here?
I.e., what is this?
Yeah.
what's it for. It's interesting because when you walk around it, looking at where it strikes the obsidian surface, it doesn't appear to reflect outwards from it. It's almost like it's going down through a hole, or that there's something below the floor that you can't make out because it's too bright. Yeah?
And then my second question would be, what aces do you have up your sleeve?
This is clearly witchery of some description. This is, when you look up, it looks like sunlight, but you know that you are hundreds of feet from the top of this. This can't possibly be sunlight. So I think you should expect something supernatural to happen in or around that sunbeam. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I would just circle the sunbeam once, maybe twice, and I then would look the captain in the eye and say,
"Go on,
Captain.
Lucia.
This is such a powerful place. We need to be really certain about every single step we're making here. Otherwise, we will certainly die here. But from what I see here, I think this might not be the place for the ritual. Maybe there is a cave underneath or something."
Lucia, having that conversation with the captain, what does the captain divine that you're actually feeling at this point? Are you feeling traitorous? Does he spot a glint in your eye that suggests that you will betray him?
Well, it could be, but I think I'm more confused because I feel really guilty. I think as I've got this cursed weapon forged at this very place, I should have known something more about it, and I should know about maybe the ritual or traps or any legends that should be here. And I feel very guilty because I do know, as I have forgotten about all of this, someone certainly will die due to my lack of...
And I like all that backstory, but the specific question that I want you to answer truthfully at the moment is whether you are feeling inclined to betray the captain as Morgana discussed or not.
Yeah, I'll 100%. I'm 100% loyal to Morgana because I think she got the better leadership skills.
I think we may be about to discover that.
That's just my impression. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine, because that I think is the plot nugget we need to get out of this bit of encounter. So, Captain, you now know what you've just heard.
Okay. I'm also quite interested in Percival, though. I need to know where Percival sits.
So are you going to size up Percy? I'm getting this kind of good, bad, and ugly here, where the three of you are walking around this sunbeam, and your attention has drifted from looking to it to looking at one another.
Very much so.
Do you want to size up Percy, Captain? Roll plus vinegar.
Okay, I'm probably going to spend a bond with Percy here. So I've marked one of the bonds, so I'm going to get +1 to my roll because I have I think I've got 0 vinegar. 0 vinegar. Okay, here we go. 2 dice +1. 7, 8. That gives me.
Walking the razor's edge. So on an 8, you get 2 questions, but then Percy gets to ask you 1. So which 2 do you want to ask Percy.
Okay. I want to know what Percy's goal is here. Basically, is it to make me the Pirate King or not?
So, if what Grandfather wants is to steal the captain's treasure, then I have to assume that means that Grandfather wants to steal the Pirate King's mark, right?
I think that Grandfather wants the captain's white whale. Yeah.
Yes. So, my goal here is, I think, as far as the captain can, I think you get a very strong sense that Percy wants to take this for himself. Loyal Percy, who stood with you all these years, now wants it for himself. Come the thing.
The backstabber.
Yeah.
Well,
the
back skinner, conceivably.
Conceivably, yes. So the other question is, well, actually, yeah, this is a good one. How can I actually get you to change your mind, Percy?
I don't think you can, because this is a deal I already made. This is a bargain I already made with the devil, and I don't know how you can do, because it's.
Yeah, I mean, it's your agency, so if the answer is no, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that the only thing that you could do was to be like a good person, but you're not a good person. So that's very definitely out of the question. Like, if you were to be like an innocent or to be heroic or something, then that would be like a case of perhaps that would convince Percy to fall on his own blade, kind of thing. Because if I don't fulfill Grandfather's bargain, I'm doomed, effectively.
Okay, what I would like to do now, Alan, is though I'd like to actually reactivate the white whale, because I clearly know people are against me.
Yes,
so
I
think I'm up against it here. So I'm going to burn.
Hang on. Oh. Before you do, Percy gets to ask a question of the captain. Yes,
and Mario raises a very good point that everyone's aware that Percy's got some sort of bargain with a supernatural force. It would be Grandfather that you need to convince, and I'm not sure what could convince Grandfather, because he's eldritch and ancient. I will, however, in the meantime, ask you. I think what I'm going to ask you is, how are you actually feeling, so that Percy knows that you know. If that makes sense, like Percy's aware that you're suspicious.
I'm feeling betrayed. That's what I'm feeling. A deep sense of betrayal from my crew. You can see that it's drained a bit out of me when I look at both you. You know, there's a shake of my head.
I think in the internal
and I feel
voices,
disappointed.
Yeah. How could you turn your back on me? You're captain. I've only ever done right by you and all of my men. Yes.
How does that feel, Captain?
Well, it feels pretty bad. Yeah, I feel dejected. You know, my crew should be supporting me. So yeah, I'm pretty down in the doldrums now. But you know, he's a very single-minded character at this point, Klaus.
Well, I think it is reasonable to activate the white whale, because now the opportunity is there, but you now know other people want to take it. So I think that will reactivate white whale. I'm happy for that. And I suppose, given that we know that Grandfather hears what goes on in the world, there is nothing to say that you couldn't try to convince him. But now I'd like to cut back to the Black Cat, where Morgana, you have realized that these are the creations of the Unbound. What do you do?
My deepest apologies, if you can understand me. Not if you can.
I just want to check in with you. The idea of, hang on, where's it gone? You have you are marked with that tattoo. Decide what to do, yeah, and how it's this. The tattoo marks you as indebted to a faction of your choice. You are indebted to the Unbound,
yeah,
for the tattoo. So I just want to check in with you on that. That they are they have expectations of you, Morgana.
Oh, exactly. And I'm trying to see if these things will communicate with me.
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think this is about size up. I mean, they are continuing to march in a vaguely automaton-y way up the stairs towards you. So I'm seeing you backing up the stairs now as you try to have this conversation. Is this parley or size up?
I think this is probably parlay, but I think it's not verbal, actually. It's all physical. Like, she's moving in different manners that the Unbound teach. Like, this stance means this stance means that.
I think we established early on that part of the Unbound is communication through the medium of dance. So go ahead. Parlay.
Okay, that is a 6. I will spend bond with the ship because I want to keep it safe.
I think that's very fair. Yeah. So you are seeking to convince them what?
That basically that I am on their side, which is true since I am unbound. But like, if they have need of me, I will make their needs known to the rest.
Okay, so you can facilitate their aims.
And I think what I'm offering them is my servitude.
And I think that the what you will get from the communication is that their aim, and I'm not going to make you roll for size up as well, their aim is aggressive, it appears.
Is it aggressive towards me or just towards the ship?
I think then I do need you to roll size up.
Okay.
You're all marking experience for these awful rolls, I hope.
Yes. That didn't change. So let me try again. Oh, whew, that's a 10.
So on a 10, hold to which 2 questions from the size up list you want to ask about their motive, whatever.
What's your goal here?
I think their goal is vaguely protective of you.
Ooh. And how could I get you to help me take out the other pirate kings and queens?
You can't, because that will put you in danger.
Oh, I see how it is. And I think Morgana will sigh and motion for the ship to go back around and abandon the other ships, let them go where they need to go.
Okay, well, the other ships have formed line abreast and are appearing, and they start firing on the sea to the south of you.
Oh.
And at that point, I'll pause. I'll go back inside. Do you want to do one more thing before we take our final break, folks? Apart from this kind of slightly dun 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 dun.
I mean, I think I'm waiting to see if Paul offers a parley for grandfather.
Yeah. If I know of grandfather, then I will say, Percival, you're my man, not what lives inside you. But what I can offer you, once I am the Pirate King, we can look at ridding grandfather from you by some eldritch means. We can trawl the seas until we find a witch capable of getting rid of him. Or I can offer you and grandfather the chance of murder, much murder. We can seek out that evil guild of Morganas and put an end to the lot of them. How does that sound to you? Those evil dancing witches, we can burn them at the stake.
Captain, I have a grandfather's helping with a problem of my own, in fact. And
well, maybe I can help with that problem then, Percival, to rid you of something.
I think it would be a role to convince grandfather. But
I think this is parley with grandfather, isn't it?
yeah.
Sorry, Lucia.
Yeah, at some point I will. Maybe the two of them won't really listen to me, but Lucia will say, "So, Captain, oh my Captain, this is your true face then."
My
No
true face has
wonder.
been here all the time, Lucia.
Yeah,
It's
you're
you
always
that's betrayed me. I have not betrayed you, girl.
well. You betrayed all of those who came before me. We saw them, the corridor. You remember? You've been
They were
haunted your
sold.
whole life.
They were sold for a good reason. A good reason was to get us here. I knew that crew wasn't the right crew, but you are the right crew. Now swear fealty to me and go on.
I'm not sure I can trust you anymore, to be honest. But I think there might be an option that does not involve killing each other, but
That was
killing
never my
others.
intention. It seems to be the intention of other people, Lucia.
I think Percival chuckles at the idea of them not killing each other.
Yeah, I think we leave it here for now.
Do you want me to make that parlay roll? You're muted, Alan, but I get the drift you do.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay, rolling 4 dice, so this should work quite well.
With polish.
With polish. Yes, that's worked very well. That's 13.
The captain is apparently very convincing, Percy, when the light's in his eyes. There's the fervor of the true believer.
What do you want, Percy? It couldn't be yours, my son. It couldn't be yours. And when I'm gone of an old age, it couldn't be yours once more.
I think I'm bedeviled, so I am compelled when my demon feels the desire something. And I think that you've convinced grandfather that this is the route to happiness, is to ride on your coattails on a sea of crimson blood.
It will all be yours one day, my son.
Yes. Yeah.
We shall return and deal with Lucia.
And the last grandfather whispers in your ear, Percy, "Ah, a mortal after my own heart at last." Let's take a quick 5-minute break and we'll be back for the last section. I mean, have second thoughts about whether the adjustment we made to the command after session 1 made sense, but I want to talk about that later.
I've only been using the commands off the sheet, Alan. So yeah,
right.
Yeah, I haven't actually been. Yeah, nice that you did something, but I've only got one bit of paper. So yeah, that's the one I've been using.
Okay then. Let us then. I think that probably that cliffhanger gives us a chance to flash back to the ship. So Morgana, they are firing cannons at the sea to the south. What do you do?
Spectate.
I guess what we'll see you is pull that up, and then we'll get that inevitable kind of tunnel vision view. And the sea to the south of them appears to be a roiling black mass of something heading in this direction, and they are shelling it. As you look, you begin to see things begin to clamber up the southern side of those ships. Crabs and lobsters and tentacle things. What do you do? Continue to spectate?
Oh no, start turning the ship towards the cannons towards this thing. Hell no.
So go to join the line? Is that a fair?
I think I'm firing at this thing heading towards me.
Okay, fine. Then let me have you roll, man the cannons and fire as they bear. So you've got Cannonball Rose, and you also have these marionettes, which the crew are a bit, but the marionettes are now kind of standing ranked on the deck, facing south.
Yep. So I'll have them start like manning their cannons and fire I think they were all loaded pretty much since I was chucking cannonballs before.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So roll with rank with your ship, but Cannonball Rose adds 1 for her skill as a gunner.
Gotcha. So +2. That is a 6, unless the captain wants to spend bond with me to maybe push that to a 7, since this is his ship as well.
Captain, what's your feeling about that?
It is, but I don't think spending bonds after a roll is
no. We'll
is on, because that keeps draining away from one of my abilities, which does allow that.
It does.
So
I think the routine is it should be spent before, unless there's anybody else. Any of the other lackeys could help out.
You're muted, Captain.
Okay, you could spend bond with the ship, but again, this is after the roll rather than before the roll.
I think I want to spend bond with the captain myself, because I want to surprise the captain when he comes back to the ship.
Yeah, let's let that happen. Yeah, so that will get you to 7, yeah?
Yep.
On a hit, your shot lands, deal your weapons harm. So, you're firing at the sea. So, you can see that there are sea creatures being blown into the air. There are no consequences for you yet. I'll come back to you in a moment. So, inside the obelisk, the captain appears to have come to an arrangement with Grandfather and therefore Percy. Lucia, you notice the kind of chemistry in the room has changed, and now both of them seem to be looking at you. What do you do, Lucia?
We were circling the sunbeam, and I will stop circling with the exit right behind me, so I can run for it at any time. And then I'm saying, okay, I think we've got three options here. One is you simply go kill me. One option would be we reconsider the Pirate Council, because if there is 8 pirate kings and queens, there might be a draw when there is a vote. And we need maybe a ninth taking part in the council. Or, and that would be my suggestion, we make Morgana the pirate emperor, if you will so, and let her stand above you all, because she is clearly a descendant of one of the dragons that way back inhabited this place. And she's the bloodline of fire, and it's upon her to rule the world. And I think she clearly showed that to all of us.
I know you've got a soft spot for the lass, Lucia, but
It's
I'll
not
give you
going to
another.
happen.
No, I don't think that'll ever fly with the captain, and not with my own family. But I'll put another offer on the table. We walk back. Captain gets what his reward, and we get back on the ship, and we let bygones be bygones. No harm comes to you.
I just don't want to wait. You see, I had this 1 year off, and I don't want to end up being sold into slavery.
It's not going to happen. Let me tell you, it's not going to happen.
Where's the promise? How can I believe you? What's the proof?
Have I not upheld my word so far, all this time, Lucia? Listen to Percival. Swear fealty to me. Don't go with your heart. Go with your brain, girl. Follow your captain. What I can offer you is, you're right. There are other pirate kings and queens. Maybe we should look at taking them out, and all of you can have a position at the table. Once Percival has done his murdering spree and we help him on that, maybe he can have a seat at the table as well. Think about the whole crew, Lucia, not just the love of your heart. Think of everyone.
Maybe rather than 7 pirate kings and queens, there could be 3.
Aye, how does that sound, Lucia? Me, you, and Percival.
If I could trade my place for Morgana, I'd say we conceal this with a blood pact.
The 3 of us with a blood pact. And we'll see how Morgana goes with it. If she turns against us, all 3 of us agree she must die. Agreed, Lucia?
If I want to make clear, I'm not into becoming a pirate queen, but I'm sure Morgana is. So I'd say I trade my place for Morgana, and once I go back home.
So let me get this clear. I become the new pirate king. We then sort Percival out on his spree, and then the 4 of us hunt down the other pirate kings and queens and reduce the flock, so to say. And then when it gets down to 3, it'd be me, Percival, and Morgana. Is that what you're saying, Lucia?
That is something I can get my head around. That is something I would agree to.
Very well. So Morgana will get the last spot of the kings and queens. How does that sit with you, Percival? You being the next one in line.
Well, as much as I enjoy the blood spilling, it would be my preference not to spill the blood of these fair women.
Fair one. So you agree, Lucia. If Morgana agrees, all is well. If she doesn't, you stand with us.
If she doesn't, I won't return.
I need your word that you'll take her down with us. Swear on the blood pact.
I do know her desire to become a pirate queen, and I trust her that she will not.
Well then, there won't be any problems to say yes then, will there, Lucia?
Yeah.
Swear on the pact with blood.
Yes.
I draw a dagger and cut my wrist.
I do as well.
Percival looks at you both and cuts the side of his arm, and it's like, what's wrong with you?
They don't call me Pirate King Hepatitis for nothing.
And as the blood drips onto the ground, onto the obsidian, it's almost like it's drawn into the sunbeam. And as the 3 beads of blood meet the sunbeam expands, and you're gone. Morgana, back on the boat. You're coming up close to the others now, because that's where the defensive line has been drawn. And I think a captain will yell over, speaking trumpet, "Klaus, you idiot, you fool, do you know what you've unleashed?" Because she expects him to be on board.
And I'll just yell back, "When does Klaus ever think of anything but himself?"
"Now we must defend everything or we'll just get destroyed.
You're
He's
half right.
unleashed the Wardens."
How close am I to the line of ships now? You're muted.
I think you're running up parallel to them just to take your place at the end of the line.
And they've released the Warden. So yeah. It's so much easier. I mean, I don't know their plans to kill the pirate kings and queens, but if they're all here, I can't really take that chance and, not take that chance. So I'll, they're close enough that they'll, bump into each other if, something moves them or things like that? Or how, is this line? Is it like a...
Yeah, a line of battle. So they're close. They're not kind of end to end, but they're close enough so they can maneuver.
Oh no, but I mean, if one of them went adrift, it would land into another ship.
Oh, conceivably, yeah, conceivably.
Yeah. So I'll just look at cannonball rows, pack it. Bring me as much gunpowder as you can.
And
she will have it launched at another ship, and as it is in midair...
Yeah, saw that one coming. Okay, so you are launching. In fact, you're probably throwing small casks of powder at these ships. Let me cut back inside the obelisk. Inside the obelisk, you are in a small chamber, and there are 8 thrones around the room. And over 6 of them, you can see what's happening on that captain's ship. The 7th one, all you can see is the bottom of the ocean, because he's held drowned under a cannonball that Morgana threw at him. And they are engaged in fighting off spiny, shelled, and other creatures. The Wardens have come north. What do you do? There are 2 unoccupied thrones.
Does that include, is it the 7th throne is unoccupied? Does that count as unoccupied, or is there
Sorry, the 7th one, we, the audience, know is at the bottom of the ocean with Morgana's cannonball on his chest.
I will turn to the other 2, Percival and Lucia, and say, "This will only take a minute for my ordination. Please stand by." And I will sit in the 8th chair. You're muted, Alan. It sounds good, whatever it is you're saying.
There are 2 free. You can see there's compass rose on the ground. The southern throne is empty, and the northeast throne is empty. Which one do you sit in?
The southern throne.
You sit in the southern throne. And what I think we will see, you will see it around the walls, as more and more of these creatures driven by the Wardens are swamping the ships of the other captains. Percy, Lucia, what do you do?
What is Gran? I whisper under my breath. Should I take it, grandfather?
You know, my boy, I always say, if it's there for the taking, you should take it. Surely it wouldn't be there if you had intended to take it.
Well spoken. And I think I just stride over to the other throne.
Lucia, do you try to stop Percy?
No, I won't. I will search in my pockets, maybe for a needle or something, and then I will remind the captain. I will say, Captain, you sure this is a good idea? Because all we know about the Pirate King ceremony is that you would have to get your tattoo done before claiming the throne. You will have to prove yourself worthy. Should we tattoo something now, or what's the plan?
I have the tattoo already. You saw it earlier. It's on my back, girl. Are you doubting me?
No, I'm not doubting you. I wasn't sure that was the kind of tattoo we were talking about.
I think because I'm driven to become the Pirate King, I'm pretty convinced here that this is it. And I think I'm reasonably okay with Percival sitting at the other throne, because that sort of was the plan. Admittedly, we were going to whittle the numbers down but hey, while you're here, Percival, it seems reasonably
opportunity
okay.
presents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're quite happy. I'm quite happy.
And I think grandfather's like, do it in my ears drowns out Lucia's comments about the tattoo, because I haven't got a tattoo. So let's see how that goes.
True, he hasn't.
I think I need you to stand your ground, Percy, because you don't have a tattoo. And you gingerly perch on the throne, and you're thrown back against it and pinned back against it. Stand your ground.
Okay. Well, I think I'll spend bond with grandfather to do so.
That would be very logical.
Yeah. So that is roll plus X.
How much bond do you spend?
You know what? I'll spend both bonds, because I feel this is a.
We are getting close.
That is an 8.
So, on a hit, you've escaped your vices, so you do not take harm specifically. But on a 7 to 9, choose one. Take a weakness, permanently lose rank equal to the bond spent, or you are in a worse position than before.
I would like to suggest something in terms of permanently losing rank, since we're right up close to the end of the session, if that's so appropriate. I would like to suggest that what happens is I permanently lose rank equal to the bond I spent with grandfather, and perhaps grandfather finds another host.
I think that might be very interesting, mightn't it? Lucia, the whip is reaching towards Percival. Under its own power, it seems. What do you do?
Well, we had a plan. We had an agreement. I think I grab another one of those muffins I had with me, get a bite, and say, well, Percy, I think we need your special item. I think your Reagan won't last long if we can't get you one of the holy items.
Lucia, you hear a whisper in your ear. The whip is talking to you, and the whip is saying, "Hello, my dear. I'm sure we'll get along terribly well." And then we will cut back to Morgana on the deck. Morgana, you have now set 2 of the Pirate King's ships aflame. But the wave of creatures driven by the Wardens are now at the Black Cat. And there are monstrous articulated crabs and octopi, and the barnacled bodies of dead sailors clambering up over the side of the black cat. What do you do?
I look at the marionettes. Protect me.
And what do we see that shows that they are under your command?
I think that like one of these like undead pirates like reaches up, like does that little like 3D animation scream at the audience, and there's just like a puppet punching the head off, and it flies back into the sea, and they start like just throwing themselves onto these things, like drown them back into the ocean.
So this is what we see. We see these creatures. The Wardens are driving these creatures onto you to attack. But I think because you have the marionettes, you're going to be able to defend yourself and the ship. Captain Klaus, you get a distinct feeling that you are now in control of some force. What do? Do you want to investigate it? Run from it?
No, I want to embrace that force. Do I feel like a pirate king?
Oh, you feel that the ocean is now at your command.
Excellent. I would like to direct the ocean, because I can now see the vista playing outside, can't I?
Indeed you can. And you can see Morgana and her marionettes are defending the Black Cat. You can see that a couple of the Pirate Kings are, as well as staving off the Wardens, they are trying to douse the fire that she has managed to set in their sails.
Does it look as if the Black Cat is winning, or is it just sort of holding a losing battle here? Are there a lot of Wardens?
I think that it seems like there's a bottomless pit of Wardens.
Then I'm going to need to command the seas to try and push the Wardens away to give the Black Cat a chance to return for a captain.
This looks like it. If those commanded include a potentially interested crowd of sea creatures. So I think this is roll plus polish.
Okay, so I'm not going to roll with a 2 extra because I've got what I want. What I do get from that, though, I mark all luck, I mark experience, and I need to choose a new obsession. So I think we are going to collect all 10 pieces of the Star Jewel next. So I have a boatload of luck. That's a lot of luck.
Burn it all if you wish.
If I wish. So yes, I will. I'm going to command this interested party. I don't have any bond with them. So luck you sort of use to twist fate, don't you?
You do.
Okay, so I'm just going to roll then. Command this interesting crowd. So roll plus polish. Here we go. Let's see what we get. 5, 6, 7. So not too bad.
So on a 7, pick 2. On something they're interested in your goal, pick 1.
Again, it doesn't sort of. Well, actually, no. They take the loyal tag. So does that mean I'm in command of some of them? I'm not going to say all of them, but
no, you are in command of them. Because what you have just realized, and Lucia and Percy, you will begin to notice the captain is changing. On his cheek, where he used to have a wart, there's a barnacle there now. And he is taking on an aspect of the sea. And you, Captain Klaus, command the Wardens.
Well, it's got to be stop attacking the Black Cat and actually no. Are there any shipwrecks that the Wardens know of in the area?
No.
Okay. Stop attacking the Black Cat. Turn all your attention to the other pirate kings.
Morgana, you will notice that the attack that you staved off and held your own is now drawing away. And, we'll see the last sideways scuttle of a crab as it goes over the side. But the other ships are just being submerged in these creatures. What do you do, Morgana?
Laugh.
And the marionettes have gone back to kind of wherever they were in their ring of protection around you. They've just kind of frozen.
Yeah, and I think I, again, speak to probably the rest of the crew is frightened as all hell. Just get back to work. We're going back to where we were. We'll prepare a feast. Obviously, we've won.
And I think that's probably a point where we could, unless there's something else somebody wants to do, I think we're almost at a point of epilogue. Lucia, okay? Okay. So I think we are at the point of epilogue. I think that Captain Klaus has become the 8th Pirate King. And what becomes clear is the reason that there's never been an 8th Pirate King is that, the Wardens are too dangerous to give to anybody. But now they are in the hands of Klaus. Percy is a Pirate King. The other thrones are empty. And grandfather, or your whip, Lucia, is whispering to you, because you're not a Matelot, you are still but grandfather is inside your whip, hoping that he can begin to suborn you to the dark side. And certainly he's very, very keen. As you see the pirate kings blink out of existence around the chamber, he's very keen for you to, why don't you sit in one of the seats, Lucia? Surely you need a rest, Lucia.
Oh,
I don't need you to answer that.
Okay.
That I think I'll then cut to epilogues, and you can tell me what situation each of you is found in.
Never mind. Yeah, you made.
You're muted, Percy.
Can I just say the very last scene is we see Morgana on the ship and everything, and we, with the boat, she sails over in the next boat to the thing to meet us all on the obelisk. I think Percy hands over that guild and goes like, "There was a change of deals."
Well, let's start, Morgana. What do you want your epilogue to be?
I'd like to work with Lucia on my epilogue, as I think they come out like there's that puppet retinue around me, and I think Lucia maybe has the crown or a chunk of one of these thrones, and hands it over to me, and that's when the tattoos start turning into scales, the eyes turn orange, and she I think she looks at the ring that her fiance, lover, whatever interest gave her, takes it off, drops it into the ocean, hugs Lucia, and then whispers into her ear, "I've never had a lover that interested me like you." And then I think then she strokes the whip, and it's always been uncles and aunts, never a grandfather, as I'm still cursed, and I think I've been hearing what grandfather's been whispering through the whip.
Lucia, what's your reaction? Is this the epilogue you want, or do you want to go further away in time or place?
Yeah, I think with Lucia, we go way beyond these moments, and we see her couple months, maybe a year after the incident, and at some point she's saying to Morgana, "It's been a wild ride, but you know how it is. Those of us wild in nature, they need their freedom, and I think I've seen enough of the pirate life for now. I will return, but I have to see to my family. So farewell it is for now."
I think like I wanted to work with Lucia with my epilogue. I think at the end is like I make my pirate queen port at Lucia's island, and there's just this fleet of expensive like looking merchant ships as faking with the pirate flags hidden just in case.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And I think grandfather will whisper, "I look forward to meeting the rest of your family, Lucia. I'm sure some of them would like to have the conversation." Percy, what about your epilogue?
I think my epilogue is you see an island like on where is it, on Saint Sucre. There is a very high tower, and there's a bell ringing and there's fire breaking out, and in the bay outside there are leviathans pulling ships down into it, and then there's a fleet of pirate ships storming the bay on all sides. And inside that tower you see very like wizened sort of like grim faced man, like the patrician from the Discworld books, and his army of sparrows standing guard on the doors as pirates come flooding into the town, breaking down the doors. And you can see Klaus himself like standing on the deck of the ship commanding the Leviathans in this attack. And you can see as the noises die down, as the patrician locks himself in his room, you just see Percy step forward from the shadows and says, "Hello, father."
Lovely. Captain Klaus, apart from aiding Percy as you agreed in his bloody spree, what do we see of the captain as perhaps now in some years' time?
No, I think you will see the captain in a long, long time. He's a very old man sat in a bar with very few teeth, and they're all pretty either manky or gold. And he's asking people coming by. He's really disheveled, terrible clothing, and he's asking people to buy him a drink. And eventually some young sailor, good with the spirit of life, sits down, and you hear the captain Klaus turn around and say, thank you, son. Let me tell you a story. A time of high adventure on the seas." And that is it.
Yeah, I liked all of those. Thank you very much. I'd like to do a quick stars and then thorns, actually. Just any comments we have about the system and how we think it rounds. But let's start with stars. Can I start with Ferret? Do you want to offer any stars?
Oh, to everyone, Klaus for I was going to betray your ass with Percival, maybe even betray Lucia. This turned out much better than I expected. I am so happy for all of us. Thank you for setting up the sequel bait. It is awesome. Percival, I'm glad you got your revenge and that you don't have an old creepy man in your head anymore. And Lucia, I realized too late that I'm a dragon queen with a horde of ships holding my horde of puppets and my horde of gold. This is lovely, and I think we are a wonderful couple. And Alan, thanks for running this game. It has been a whimsically violent adventure, very stayed within the rating, and I loved every minute of it, even the failures at the very end.
No, it was good fun. Thank you for that. Moving down, Mario, any stars?
Oh yeah, I totally agree with Ferret. And it's been an amazing ride, up and down between casual sort of violence and a lot of mystics within the last 2 episodes. I really got everything I expected from this game. And I'm really glad we got a lot of hints from other players and were really willing to jump onto these stories and fully embrace it, especially in this episode with the betrayal. That was a super fun to play with.
And the betrayal of the betrayal of the betrayal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Will, any stars?
I mean, I'm glad that we had this whole kind of mutiny / new agreement dealing. I like the whole sort of bargaining and positioning with each other for goals. And to Ferret for doing that scene, like fighting off the Titan Horde all and the pirate fleet all by himself, with like while the three of us just cowboy movie each other basically. And Alan, you do a really good job of switching between scenes and everything. So like as usual, I just admire the pacing and the ability to manage multiple scenes.
Thank you for that. If I could find ways to keep people in the same room, trust me, I would. But player agency is important. Paul, any stars?
The whole crew that turned against me. Yes, thank you. Went really well, and Will, you fed back in there. It didn't have to end up in fisticuffs, or it could have done. But everybody sort of worked to raise that sort of, the mutiny right to the fore, and then it was nicely sort of pulled back without any sort of fisticuffs and just rolling against each other. That's what I don't think it's about. So yeah, really good there how it's pushed into a situation and then dealt with very well. And of course, great game, Alan, as usual. And I try my hardest to keep wandering off away from other players and. Yeah, it's just me.
I particular star moments for me. I really enjoyed the three of you around the sunbeam. I think that kind of the kind of which way is this going to go, and then using the mechanics quite effectively, I think, to get there. I loved Lucia's loyalty to the betrayer. And Ferret, if you had not started that talk of mutiny, I'm not sure I'd have got there. So thank you for throwing me that one to kind of run with. The idea of Captain Klaus being in control of the Wardens. No wonder he's looking a little worn 20 years later. So no, I had a lot of fun with that, guys, and thanks for working off one another, because it's much easier when that's happening. It could have gone all tits up, and you could have ended up at one another's throats. So thank you for going with it and keeping the ensemble sense of the game. Okay, thorns. I'm interested in thorns in the system, to be honest. Can I go the other way? Start with Paul.
I like the system, but I think it does need some work. For instance, my playbook, the bond move, don't get it. Unless you sort of make everybody understand that the other players need to doubt me, or I can push them too far, and then we start getting... My character can easily generate bonds for either himself or for other characters, but it seems a sort of stoogey way to force other people to sort of say, well, I'm not too sure, Captain, what should I do? Well, you should do this. Oh, quick, have a bond. It doesn't really work for me. The command, now sort of, the way I was sort of reading it sort of worked out quite well. Clearly, you can't keep using it because you're going to keep... there's only a few tags. There probably needs to be a few more tags to apply. And
some sense of time scale for them. Is the crew perpetually and forever loyal, or loyal while they're pursuing that command? So I think clarity about how to use that one is what I was noticing.
And I think maybe the command skill needs to be opened up to some other characters, maybe, because Morgana hasn't got access to the command skill, but she sort of needed it. Maybe the captain needs a better command, or they need a lesser command. Because then there needs to be something for other characters to move a crew about, unless the captain is just always on the ship, which sort of, again, I don't sort of get. The White Whale, really good move, apart from, I think for a 4-shot, I mean, you couldn't do the White Whale with a 1-shot, I don't think. It sort of, I think the GM probably has to write the White Whales for his campaign, based on probably the length he aims to run it for, and whether it's darker, lighter, whatever. I think that's really a GM setup, that is, rather than just a base playbook. Because for a 4, become a Pirate King, we achieved it, but I mean, collect all 10 pieces of the Star Jewel. I think you'd have struggled with that, Alan. That's a lot of Star Jewels dropping every single week. That's sort of like 2 or 3. So not want to waste any more time. I sort of do like the system, though. Nice.
Good. Moving along, Will, any thoughts about any thorns, or indeed, roses about the system? Because the fair dues. Don't want to just focus on the negative.
So I like the Mountebank. I think it improved a lot more when we decided that the occult stuff wasn't a secret. Because I don't see how you can play it as a secret, because it just means that you're continuously doing absolutely mad stuff that they're not subtle magic effects, for the most part. They're quite over the top and dramatic. I like being the Sparrow and the whole insta-kill thing and the assassin thing, but I almost feel like it's maybe layering too much on the Mountebank, because you have the bond to your... I can't think of a way of doing it interestingly without doing what I did with, I'm dealt with Grandfather to get free of to turn against the Sparrows. If it's both, then it feels as though I've got too many masters to begin with, plus the captain and the crew and everything,
Yeah, I know what you mean. And so far I've run this twice, and on one occasion somebody took the fingersmith, which was just light-fingered kleptomania. But the other one that's in there is infernal hunger. You have a second mouth where it shouldn't be. Whenever you feed the mouth living flesh, take 3 harm to enhance your senses to the next thing. They seem very different. Very different.
Very different. And that one, when we were talking about the tone of things, I do feel that Rapscallion, when you read for all the stuff, it is perhaps a little bit darker tone than what we were aiming for. But it should be flexible enough to do both, right? And I think that that middle one is that is dark as hell. You feed it, you have a hidden mouth that feeds on flesh, right? The other thing is that move where with the fact that one of my moves becomes the devil's move, basically the demon's move, which we never really did, because I mostly tried to avoid using it because of the complication and it would grind, and also that there's no direction in the book about what that means. I feel like it would be good for that to be a GM set. The GM has a different set of roles to do. A different score, hit, miss, and 7 to 9. So maybe inverse to what a player would choose. I really like the size someone up and they get a hold on you as well. It'd be something like that kind of thing. It would.
Yeah, I like that size up move. That idea that it works both ways. It's less useful, to be honest. It was really useful in this game when you were sizing one another up around the sunbeam. That really came into its own. As an NPC, not so certain it works as well. But
But maybe something like that could be used for the devil move. Something where it has a hold that can be spent against you or the crew. I also just want to say that the dark, not the dark magician, the Mountebank really lacks ways to gain bond or rank with people, which makes it hard to really do until you're 2 or 3 sessions in.
I think that's maybe where the captain's bond move could come in, Will, but it's hard.
Yeah, and also it'd only ever really be with the captain rather than with the rest of the crew kind of thing, which I feel is maybe more. And the Devil's Contract move always felt a little bit useless beyond marking luck equal to my rank with the demon, or the ability to gain extra luck. When it talks, I would have perhaps liked something where I could have spent rank and bond to improve my bond with the demon, in mid-game, swap it. I could have just been Morgana goes, I have 1 rank with Morgana, I now give that rank to the demon kind of thing.
There are some quite complicated mechanical relationships going on here that I don't think I've got my head around at all, really. It's that link between luck and bond and rank.
Yeah.
And in that case, it then throws harm into the mix as well. So there's a lot of kind of interchangeability going on, and I can see why that might be helpful, but it is very complex.
Yeah, I also feel like the Mountebank doesn't really fill such a good role on the crew, kind of. You know what I mean? Everybody else has a more clear role, and the Mountebank is quite specific to what it is. But I did really like your suggestion of the move. For the spend as much harm as you like to get to the move that you want, because otherwise, I don't see how you can really use those powers effectively for the most part.
No, I think if it's as random as it looks, then you'd end up avoiding using them, which is kind of not the point. I suppose the interesting question is the kind of pitch is: expect personal crises weird shenanigans and troubling subject matter that come up with having an established demon NPC in your party, be sure to talk with the fates about your role-playing boundaries. I think that's quite a tough one, to be honest.
I think maybe one way of doing it with the NPC crew, perhaps like encouraging the Mountebank to be more kind of like, you leave him behind, you stab him with a thing, you drown the kid, you steal his favorite memento, that kind of stuff. Whereas I think that's quite hard to do with other player characters because of the interaction that it goes on, you know?
Yeah, fair point. Mario, any thoughts, either roses or thorns?
Yeah, after the last session, I had a couple of thoughts about the playbook, and I think one of the major problems is that I think in German, I'm way more eloquent, and I feel like as a swashbuckler, I would have needed some more practice with the pirate setting and how to really describe the pictures I had in my head in English. So I think it was a bit of a language barrier that was a problem. But also, there's not really a lot of like social moves, and the bond and rank mechanics didn't feel as naturally as I would like it to be. So I sort of struggled to always ask back and forth if what I was doing would impress someone, or if I would show clumsiness. Does that include a bad roll? Or it just it didn't come naturally. So I did struggle a bit with the mechanic.
There's a lot of judgment call, I think, in some of this, and a lot of options you need to sift through. But in the case of the language, let me assure you that the joke I have with another German player on the gauntlet, Gerrit, is that when he can come up with a game that simply requires Ich fahre mit dem Bus zur Schule, I'm in, because that is as far as my German goes. So don't knock yourself. Your English is very good indeed, Mario. Don't go away from this thinking that was in any way that we noticed any of that. But yeah, I think all the playbooks so far, they all feel like we know what they're after, but we're not quite sure that it quite gets there. Ferret, what about you?
Well, here's where I'm going to break into my PBTA hacking skills, since I've made several playbooks and worked a lot of things. I always try to make sure that I don't steal everything from Apocalypse. I don't want to pork the hard holder as the captain, but I think it could borrow more from it. Like the captain's command could have, instead of giving out these tangible crunch benefits, roll command on a 10+. You have 3 choices, all 3. On a 7 to 9, choose 1, and then have things you will hear about it, or the crew will start muttering about mutiny, or it takes too much of your stores. You may risk scurvy, kind of things. Have consequences versus benefits to that. With the Mountebank, I think it should be more like the Brainer and the Contaminated combined from Apocalypse World 2nd Edition. Start with a mystical objects, you have a talisman that allows you to do one of the roll choices without spending luck, but you can only do it once per session. So you could have the immune to fire thing or things like that, and that way you'd have always one power you could work with, and then have this thing in your head, the grandfather, be sort of the Contaminated's other it could have allowed Savannah Samson to know our every move as she was looking through Grandfather or bartering with Grandfather or things like that. I believe Mario and I both got the easiest playbooks to run with in this game. Bond-wise, I never like the help mechanic only adding a +1 or just being limited to a +1 and a -2. I think in this it could be better risk your bond to, if it's before roll, risk like up to 2 bond to give someone a +2. If they fail, they lose 1 rank with you, or you lose 1 rank with them, to like penalize that as like, you know, you overextend yourself. But in general, this game feels a lot like the Mousetrap board game. It looks beautiful. When it goes off, it is amazing. But oftentimes that damn marble gets stuck and you have to push it along yourself.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because I was wondering whether I would run this at a con, just to try it out, and I don't think I take the risk currently. You know, it is in Ashcan, so I'm sure that when we see the final game, it'll look different. And I hope that they can kind of file off the bits that kind of catch in my clothes. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of select one of these in advance for the moment. It's a bit like the Heart of Gold, you know, where you make a decision about which one do you want to bank on, and then, you know, maybe the option to do some stuff around that. Yeah, I take your point. Right. Any other comments?
I really liked the pirate battle. When we had the first pirate battle with the ships, that was great. Like that was probably my favorite bit in the whole thing. And I think that it inspired us to sort of come up with ways that we want all just like, you know, just steer the ship, just move the thing kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's clear in the quick start in the Ashcan that the ship rules are really thin. And I would really encourage them to build some more weight into that, because I think it could be great fun.
And Mario, I agree with Alan. You did fine. I noticed like no slip-ups on your. I thought I slipped up more for not being like a pirate knowledgeable person. English is my first language, and fuck this. But no, you did fine, and yeah. I know Bit Day. As soon as Garrett has a game of like saying thank you and don't know thank you, I'll be fine.
Yeah, veal down.
Thank you.
Right, then I will stop the broadcast. Say goodbye to the internet.
I would. I have one thing to add, and I think what I really like about the playbooks is that you have a couple of extra options. I really like that I just, especially in the character keeper, that I basically can, with a few clicks, I have a character and I can basically play the swashbuckler in like 6 different configurations and have a totally different feel. And I think that's a really good design for a pirate game for this kind of setting.
That's a very good point, actually, because by altering your and I never quite managed to get Filthy Rich doesn't quite work, but the principle is a good one. And if you do mix that with a different kit, and you can come up with very different kinds of characters. Yeah, very true. But then the moves that come with them are consistent, and that I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, I will now end the broadcast. Say bye bye to the internet. Bye bye, internet. Keep waving.